Jimbo Stokes grew up on the land near Tamworth in New South Wales and spent the first part of his working life in the corporate world in Sydney before moving back to the New England region, where he now works in the arts. He released his exceptional debut single Atlas last year, then followed it with Headed Country. His latest single is Same Damn Walls. I think I'm going to talk to him about all three of those, even though I talked to him about Atlas last year. Hello, Jimbo.
Hi, Sophie. How's it going?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, three really great songs and different to each other. So it tells me that something interesting is going on with you and your music in a good way, not in a bad way. But I'm curious, when you released Atlas, which I was surprised to see was August last year because it doesn't feel that long ago, was it with the intention of seeing just what was going to happen with that one song, or did you always intend to continue releasing music?
A bit of both. I think, yeah, I remember speaking to you. It must have been bang on a year ago, just after I released Atlas. I'd say mainly it was I just wanted to get it out. I really enjoyed writing it. It was an incredibly personal sort of song to get out. So in a way, it was testing the waters, and if it completely bombed, I wouldn't have been upset by it because I just wanted to get it out. But the fact that it did well definitely drove me to keep making more music. I think saying that, I really enjoy it, so I probably would have kept going regardless. But it definitely buoyed me to make more and keep going. And so yeah, it's been a busy 12 months, 11 months, however long it's been, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a very personal song. It was about your late mother, and in some ways could have felt like the biggest risk of all to put out something so close to you. It probably would have been the easier route to put out something a little more generic, I guess, unless that's not at all true to who you are.
Yeah, I think it's in a way it's a lot easier for me, and it's probably been true with the three songs because they're all sort of narrative, story based on my own experiences. It just means you don't have to remember too much stuff. You don't have to make stuff up. You just and particularly that first one, it was very much there's a lot of me in that song. So if people liked it, then like, oh, I'm on the right track. I'll keep doing it, and I'll have the conviction to sort of put my own twist on it and make sure it's authentic. So in a way, it made things a lot easier. I think if I was putting out stuff that didn't have a lot of me in it, or it was mainly someone else writing it and I was just singing it, that's fine. I'm sure a lot of people do that, but it doesn't motivate me, and it wouldn't give me any confidence to actually have a career out of it and keep doing it. I think it's that creative side that, while live performing's fantastic and industry's great, the ability to create something from scratch and get it out there and get a response, that's probably what drives me the most. So in a way, yeah, it's probably a bit of a unique way to go, and in some ways a more commercial, upbeat, generic song might have done better. But I think as a first song, it did a lot better, much better than I would have expected, and I think most people expected. So no regrets, can't complain. It's been a good few months since then.
And you talk about, perhaps singing a song that someone else has written. You do actually have training as a singer, in fact, as an operatic tenor. So I imagine that might have been an option for you, except again, not true to who you are. But have you ever considered just doing that for a while, like doing shows where it's all covers and you're using your singing training in that way?
Yeah, I have, and it's been a lot of what my live performances have been so far, because I do have a decent set of songs, but I only really play a few of my own originals at events, depending what they are. It's getting the balance is shifting, so I've got more confidence in my own stuff, and it's becoming more original, less covers. But to begin with, it was literally sort of all covers and the one song that I just released. So it's good to be able to do that. And some events, that's kind of the remit. If you just rocked up and people are expecting to hear songs they know, and you just went rogue and did all your own stuff, and it might fall flat. But others, I think that's just part of the industry. So you get your name out there and people are familiar and they want to hear you for you. It's not just sort of background noise. So it's good to have both. And I think even, whatever happens over the next few months or next few years, I like doing covers and having a balance of a couple of covers in there. I think it's a great point of reference for the other songs as well, and people that aren't familiar with your music to have that sort of touch point, that connection. So yeah, I think a balance is good, but it's definitely the balance is shifting for me.
Yeah, as it should, because the songs are so good. The second one was Headed Country, which was yes, a very different song lyrically as well as musically. But what I thought it had in common with Atlas is a strong core concept. So if that makes sense. So it's really like I can identifiably say quite simply what those songs are about if I'm describing them to some other people. So when you write songs, do you tend to start from a core concept, or is it more a story that you want to tell?
I think it's probably the concept, because they were, sort of polar opposite concepts in a way. Headed Country being quite a uplifting sort of song about freedom and getting out to the country or getting away from the grind, that sort of thing. But again, it was very much my own experience, so it's probably a bit of both. It's something that I was familiar with. It's something that I'd done the start of last year or the end of the year before, making that move from city to country. So it was again a personal story, and that's probably what is similar to Atlas and Same Damn Walls as well. So it was a bit more tangible than just a broad concept. I guess the concept was probably secondary really to just the story, but it sort of goes hand in hand. So I definitely didn't want to follow up with 3 slow sort of ballads that with Atlas. I wanted to mix it up and do something quite different. So it was just handy that I had the story there ready to go for Headed Country. So it would make sense. It'd still be authentic. It would be different, but it would have ties, similarities with Atlas. So yeah, bit of both. There's also different in that Headed Country. I jumped in with Rod McCormack and Sally Barris to co-write, and that was, I've done a little bit of co-writing before, but that was sort of the first one with any intention of releasing the track as a single, and it was our first go at it. Got it done really quickly. So it was. I've had a couple, since then. It takes plenty of iterations, but that one was, it just felt right. It didn't try to be any more than it was. Sort of didn't try and overcomplicate it. It was a feel good, vibey song that was more commercial in a way than Atlas, sort of, at least on the radio side, and that was in part the intention as well. So that was kind of the thought process going into that one. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Rod McCormack, and you wrote Same Damn Walls with him, and he also produced it. So clearly that association has worked well. Was that just a happenstance thing that you came to write with him for Headed Country and you thought, oh, this is good, I'll continue it? Or did you actually set out to do a writing session with him and produce a few songs?
Yeah, we did. It probably, the first, even before Atlas, we were trying to sit down for a co-write and get a song done. I think Rod was pretty keen for the co-write, but I basically said, look, I've written this song. I want to get it out, and I want it to be my first song as well. So that's where Atlas came out, and then pretty soon after that was released, we scheduled in the time and jumped in with Sally, who jumped on the call like this from Nashville, and yeah, that was the concept that I wanted to run with, and we're all on board. Rod was in good form, We bounced a few ideas around, and yeah, we probably had it 70-80% that in that session, at least by the end of the day for me, and yeah, a bit of massaging and got it there. So no, it was very much intentional, and then Same Damn Walls was as well. Very different sort of remit for that one again, and different, I guess, different concept, different goals in a way. But that was also co-writing with Rod and with Tempe Thompson and Sam Gay for Same Damn Walls. So.
And what is the story behind Same Damn Walls, as in the story behind the song?
So there's a bit of personal storyline narrative in there, but I guess the overarching concept is dealing with these walls, barriers, just more so the everyday, week to week barriers, rather than, not the biggest sort of event in your life or something like that. I wanted to do one that was, I think it kind of define it by its attitude in a way. It's got a bit more cheek, a bit more attitude than the other two. So I wanted it to be pretty upbeat, good vibe, pretty distinct sound again. Whereas Headed Country is pretty classic country in a lot of ways. I'd say Same Damn Walls has some more modern elements, has some more conversational sort of style to the verse. So I wanted to keep changing it. And yeah, the concept was that, these annoying things that keep getting in your way. It doesn't matter if you're 5 years old or 25 or whatever. They're there, and just that feeling of relief and achievement of knocking a few down. So that's kind of the story. It's not the most heart-wrenching song. It wasn't supposed to be, but it was, yeah, just dealing with those annoying little things and just that sense of relief with having done that.
I think vocally the three songs are really different because, as you said, there's cheek in Same Damn Walls, and I would say Headed Country has a bit of a wink and a nod element to it, whereas Atlas, you can hear the weight of grief in that to a great extent. So when you go into the studio to record them, do you tend to think of yourself as a character in the song and you're expressing that, if that makes sense, like in order to capture those emotions or just that attitude that you want to convey?
Yeah, I think so. I think I picture it probably visually a bit as well. So even just the first thing, I needed to make sense in my head. So if I can't sort of, and for me, a story is a lot easier and clearer. And if it's my own sort of personal story, then I can tie it together. And I think if I'm confident, okay, that makes sense, then I think other people can read it and it makes sense to them as well. And in a good way, all the three songs sort of, although I haven't done a video clip for Same Damn Walls, but I think they all lend themselves to video clips. So actual little stories that you can just wrap into 3 minutes or 4 minutes, whatever it is, and that's what we did for Atlas and Headed Country. So I think if I'm starting out thinking about a song, I'm thinking about it visually. And if it's my song and I'm the protagonist in it, I've got to be not act, but get in the mode and think, all right, this is what I'm talking about. So how am I going to convey it? Is it going to be not so much with Atlas, because that was sort of a bit more off the cuff, but the second two was very much that was a bit of satire and Headed Country, and then Walls is sort of, it's a bit of satire as well. It's probably just a bit more aggressive, maybe slightly more sort of it's not certainly not far up the spectrum, but just a bit more sort of on the front foot, maybe to put it that way. But so yeah, visualizing it helps for me.
Because each of the three songs is different musically as well as lyrically, so it's not like we could say, oh, you've got a stereotypical sound, yet your vocal is the link between all of them. I'm just wondering, when you write the songs, or perhaps when it comes to production of them, if you're thinking of the best way to deliver them musically, or if that's something that actually comes from your vocal, that whole process of visualizing the song, thinking about how you're going to deliver it, does that actually influence the way the music itself turns out, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think it does. I think head of country is sort of is that classic country feel,
Mhm.
and it's a clear story, and it's a story that it's not the first time someone's sung about going out to the country, or going country, or whatever. So it had that bit of a classic feel to it.
Mhm.
And I think it was important to keep that, and also just ground myself in in the country scene as well. Atlas is a country song, but it's certainly not. It's probably more singer songwriter ballad,
Mhm.
rather than it doesn't have that many country elements to it in a way. It is the vocals that tie each one. Um, so I wanted to embed myself in that country sort of scene with headed country, and then the next one, Same Damn Walls, are probably took some more risks, and in ways it's a bit less conventional,
Mhm.
a bit more some more modern elements to it, some more unique elements to it. So that was definitely part of the whole process. So I didn't, neither myself or Rod or whoever, didn't have a a set belief with it. I think
Right.
Same Damn Walls was definitely an iterative sort of process. It was like, right, this is kind of the concept. How do we get this into a song? And it took a bit more sort of trial and error and work, and was really happy with how it turned out. But it's one of those things you don't know until you try it. So we
Mhm.
spent more time on that for sure, compared to Headed Country, which Headed Country is very much up Rod's alley with what he produced before and in the past. So that was kind of the he had a lot of input into that song, and a lot of input into Same Damn Walls as well, but in a way that was, I probably had a bit more say in different areas to have that confidence of saying, oh, why don't we go give this a go? And doesn't sound good, we just change it. So it doesn't it's it's cool to just keep mixing it up. But that's the rough sort of process for the last two.
And now I imagine Rod is working with you on what is due to become an EP that's planned for release next year. So, in thinking about that EP, are there songs that you're actually just writing and keeping to consider, or do you actually write to the project? As in, oh, we're going to make an EP, so I need to write some songs.
Probably in between. So I've got a couple that I've written, and we're catching up shortly again to write some more. The next one, which is probably going to be my next single, is very, very different again. So I don't know if that's going to make the EP or not. It's sort of it's a bit out there, but I think So it's good to have a goal, and I want I think the tying factor with that EP is that they're probably going to all be personal narrative songs that
Mm.
I can sing with conviction and relate to me, and it's a bit of a intro album for myself in the scene. So that's going to be the common denominator with the songs for the EP. But really excited to get a few more sort of written, and get them in there and get into production mode again.
You'll probably have an album before more than an EP if you write a few songs.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's just first steps writing, and the more you write, the more choice you have about what
Mhm.
goes in, what you park, um, what you don't. It's good to co-write with different people as well. So I've done a bit of that. I got another track that's probably not too far away, which I'm sure we'll go into that with. I wrote with Sarah Berkey.
Oh yeah.
So it's cool. I'll keep trying to co-write with different people. The next one that's probably off sort of next up is one that I wrote completely myself. So I think it's good just to have that balance of some, keep writing with different people, not necessarily the same people every time, and also have one every now and then that's just you. So
Mm.
I would say, EP is still a while away for me to in terms of getting it out, but it'll be a mixture. It'll be plenty of the balance of my own, some co-write stuff, and with the common factor being that they're all sort of stories pretty close to me.
Mm-hmm. Now you've had quite a few chart successes with, especially Headed Country and Same Damn Walls. You might have with Atlas, but it was too long ago for me to check. So does that put a bit of pressure on you when you're thinking, oh, well, that sort of song did really well for me chart wise, I perhaps need to think about doing something like that? Or is it more now that you can see that telling the personal narratives in the way you want to do them, that is actually what's successful, so that's the way you should continue?
Yeah, I think if anything, the better the songs do, the more confidence I get, and the more conviction, sort of, that if what I'm writing is going to have a good result. So in a way, rather than that confine me to possibly what I've done in the past, it probably gives me a bit more confidence to go a bit outside of the boundaries and do different things.
Mm-hmm.
It's a balancing act. So you don't want to do anything that's kind of completely off topic or just confuses people. But I think the music I like to write is stuff that I'd like to listen to, and it's country. It's going to span a few probably sub genres within country,
Mm-hmm.
but no, I think if anything, it gives me a bit more confidence to try different stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now you are a visual artist as well as a musical artist, and I'm curious as to whether sometimes you actually pick a mode of expression for a story you want to tell, because you have the option, of course, to pick one or the other. So is it you're thinking, I want to express this? Is it a song, or is it a painting, or is it a drawing?
Uh not really. I'm probably more creative with music than I am with art usually. Whilst a lot of what I do in art is creative, and you're creating a composition. There's a story there. I do a lot of commission stuff as well, which there's some creativity in it, but it's often you get the remit handed to you, and you've got to work with what you've got. Or if you've got a subject, you've got to put someone sitting for a portrait painting, then I don't go too abstract. I've less confidence probably to do that. Whereas with a song, it's it's completely mine. If I stuff it up, then it's on me. But if someone's commissioning you to do a portrait and you make it look like a Picasso painting, then that would probably wouldn't be great. So I'd say I have a lot more creative confidence in music and gaining more than I do with art. It's very enjoyable art, but I find myself, if I've got free time, I'd rather do some writing or play music, rather than just paint without any purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So whilst it is, they're both creative outlets, in a way that the music is more creative for me than art at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And speaking of creativity, as I mentioned at the top, you did change a corporate life for a creative life because your day job is also in the arts. I'm interested in whether that felt like an irresistible path to you, that like you just weren't going to be yourself if you didn't make that change, because a lot of people would think about making that change and not do it.
Yeah, it was something that I did, and I was probably always going to do, I think. So it was never really a 50-50 call. It was something that it was in my mind for a while. And then off the back of some success of just posting music basically on Instagram, it was just like that seed that was planted and wasn't going to go away. So it was a matter of time. I still love aspects of corporate life and some of the stuff I'm doing with the gallery, sort of in that management field. I think it's great to have that as a bit of structure to your week as well. I think I guess that's probably where music goes on the same path, and it's the business aspect of music that will consume that that sort of part of my life. But but yeah, what I was doing, and just not having sort of the time and the freedom to do the creative stuff was probably never going to work longer term. So yeah, I made the plunge, and yeah, there were no regrets, and I'm sure there's always going to be a balancing act for me, or at least for the next little while. But it's, if I've got time and space and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, then that's sort of all I need.
And obviously you're very productive at it. And I am looking forward to hearing that next single, because you've talked about it. I'm thinking, I'm intrigued what it's going to sound like, because you're saying it's different again. And perhaps you will play that single at the Tamworth Country Music Festival. There is my segue, because you live down the road. Now it's a long bit of road, but you live down the road from Tamworth. Wondering if you have plans for next year's festival.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be definitely be up there. It's not far away. I've got a few things that are sort of pretty much bunkered down, but I'll over the next couple of months sort of have some announcements around specifics. But yeah, and always love getting up to Tamworth, and yeah, it isn't too far away, so I'll be up there, and hopefully be pretty busy. So I expect I'll be quite a bit busy. I was up there for the last 2 years, but I think this year or next year, it's only 3 months away now, so it's not far away, but will be my busiest so far. So looking forward to that one.
Well, Jimbo, I hope to catch you in Tamworth, and certainly looking forward to the next song. But as I've said, the first 3 songs are fantastic. So if people haven't heard them, I hope they listen to them now. And it was great to talk to you about them.
Thanks, Sophie. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate the support.